Welcome to Financial Detox. This is Jason Labrum. I'm your host, and we are excited to be bringing you a great show. As normal, we have Alex Klingensmith in studio. What's up, Alex Klingensmith?
Not too much. How you doing today, Jason?
Well, we're just working out the allergy season, the surfing nasal cavity.
I might sound a little different than normal, yes.
You sound fine. But we have a special guest in the studio today with us, too, and his nasal cavity sounds great, and that is Scott Palka. And Scott Palka is from Pro Back Office, and Scott is a Jedi master of helping business owners organize their accounting, their cash flow analysis, their books, and planning for business, which is amazing. Scott, welcome to the show, first of all.
Thank you, Jason. Good to be here.
Yeah.
Alex, good to see you again.
You too.
Yeah, it's fun to have you because this is an exciting show. So from an audio perspective, if you're listening on KCBQ, The Answer, or if you catch us on a podcast, we're actually recording this show with a video as well now. We finally have our producer in studio, Michael, who is going to help us create these into videos as well. So it's going to be super fun. We are just a little bit inside of the 6-foot recommended area, but we're going to go.
We all signed the waiver.
We signed the waiver, right?
Waiver.
Exactly. So, Scott, we're excited to have you. Financial Detox, our show is just about helping people make better financial decisions. And there's no better place to exemplify that as it transitions to a business owner in conversation. Before the show, we were talking about financial planning and how if investors don't have a financial plan for how you're going to invest and why you're going to invest and have projections of what those investments are expected to do and the potential volatility of those investments, then it's really difficult to be successful as an investor. And yet so many people, so many investors and individuals who are investing for their future saving don't have a plan. It's no wonder that the returns for average investors is like less than half of the markets, roughly less than half of what the markets return. But I bet it's even more severe contrast when you talk about business owners and the lack of planning that business owners do. I was guilty as I started running my own business, just planning and cash flow it's hard. So tell us what you do and how, and you have a model and a whole program that you wrote up some notes that are just awesome. So we want to hear from you as to how we can help business owners financially detoxify themselves and make better decisions as business owners.
Well, one of the things I find, especially in smaller businesses being like the 50 million and under, is that they really don't have a robust planning scenario. If they have a budget process, they maybe roll it out once a year. They get the budget done by March. It's already 3 months into the year, and it's really not much of a plan. And for most of these owners, their most significant asset is generally not their investments, it's the value of their business. And so what we tell them is the better you run your business and the better you have a plan, the easier it is to sell your business because you've got a plan, you've got it under control, and you're going to get an enhanced multiple that can add millions of dollars to the valuation of that business in the long run. What we're finding in the short run with the coronavirus is people have become fixated with how do I get my PPP forgiven? And I'm telling them, plus or minus getting your PPP forgiven, that's not what's going to get you into 2021. And so we've gone on a full court press to say, you need to have a very simple projection tool that really allows you to calculate what your expected free cash flow is under different scenarios. You can't just have one estimate. You need to have a range of estimates because if you guess at one number, it's a little like roulette. If you guess on 23, maybe you get that right once in 36 times. Right. If you guess on red, your odds go up to almost 50%. So we say, let's get a range, let's try to tighten the range down, and then let's figure out what do we actually have to see to make sure that this business is going to be viable going forward, because you don't want to run out of money and then figure out, hey, this isn't working. You want to figure it out when you still have money so you can make adjustments so that you can get to the other side of the recovery.
Unreal. How awesome is that correlation, Alex, to
it sounds
financial
very close
planning?
to home.
I mean, it's just exactly the same scenario in a different bucket, right?
That's right. That's right. We talk a lot about our process and we call it the client experience, right? And we're not able to give anybody an investment recommendation, just like you're not able to give anybody a financial recommendation until we know their entire financial plan. And that's what you come back to, especially in times of crisis, right? Which is what you're talking about with the PPP loan is there was a crisis that hit, the government intervened, every business owner had to become an expert overnight, right?
Yeah,
and you guys helped almost immediately. You were sharing with me before the show started, right?
Yeah, I think we facilitated maybe 250 loan applications, and then we put out some webinars on how we thought PPP forgiveness was going to work in the early phase. And obviously the rules just changed last week and the forms are still changing. And we actually were able to predict some of the changes because we said some of these rules are obviously being written in a hurry.
Yeah.
There's 4.5 million loans out there and there's 4.5 million interpretations of the rules, which obviously is a major problem. And it's pretty clear some of the people that wrote the laws are not business people, because the idea that you would have to pay and incur expenses in a 56-day period would have meant every company in the world would have had to run an off-cycle payroll to line it up with the period. So we told people, so we told people, well, be ready to do that, but be ready not to do it, because I said if there's going to be one change, it's going to be that change, because that's crazy.
Unrealistic. In fact, I mean, I think every business owner I've talked to was figuring out how to run an off-cycle payroll.
Yeah.
Including us, because you had to do that to meet
to follow one of the many rules, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
Well, here we are talking about just what we want to do is really kind of get a 1-2 punch for business owners here as to how they can get help and how they can, maybe they don't have their own CFO, right? And so they hire companies like yours to help them and be that outsourced CFO to create this modeling and create this. But one of the takeaways, we like to make sure our listeners always have something they can take away. And you were talking about this modeling program through some Excel spreadsheets that you have that's quite simple to use, and you even have webinars on how people can use it. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. So we are going to give that to everybody on our show today. If you check out the show notes, you go to financialdetox.com, there'll be show notes, and in those show notes will be a link to those Excel spreadsheets and those programs, mini programs or workbooks that you can then have the link to the webinar too to teach you how to use it. We'll also link in Pro Back Office in your website so that people can go ahead and call you if they want help. But that's financialdetox.com. And if you want to just do it the old-fashioned way, which we like to do a lot of times too, is just a phone call. Give us a call at 877-707-8889. So we got about a minute before we have to go into just a short break. But tell us about that program and what it's going to do. Because I'm a business owner. I'm really interested in it, right? And we're cash flowing and modeling, but really, I think we're doing like a one scenario type of thing. So I think I'm already making a mistake that you're talking about.
Well, so this model that's on the website is basically, it's a monthly projection model, and it's designed to show your free cash flow generation, and is based off of a simple break-even model from like your microeconomics Econ 101 class. And so it's not designed to replace that 13-week cash flow that's a tool that I know that you're using. Mm-hmm. And the 13-week cash flow is absolutely pivotal to managing short-term liquidity. This model makes some assumptions that everything is more or less settled up in cash. It eliminates your non-cash costs, and then it subtracts some costs that don't go through your P&L, like tax distributions and especially loan repayments, to say, hey, if I do this, and this happens, and my variable costs are in line, this is the free cash flow I can expect to be generating in this month. And then you can make assumptions for future months, so you can put together a projection horizon for as long as you like. Usually I think a year is probably plenty. And then it's got to be easy to fix, easy to adjust, and easy to tune up.
It's the biggest, as Scott said, I think this can be the biggest asset for so many of our listeners too, because we have so many business owner clients and so many listeners that are business owners, and your business is your biggest asset, not the portfolio that you're managing. Maybe that's important too. Hopefully it is, and we can help you with that. But this is a big deal. You got to pay attention. Stay with us. We're going to bring back some more information and takeaways so you can financially detoxify your business. This is Financial Detox. I'm Jason Lamer, your host. We'll be right back. Welcome back. It's Financial Detox. I'm Jason Labrum, your host. We're having a good chat here today for business owners. If you're a business owner or you're a CFO or you're working at an organization and have anything to do with the operations and the management, this is something for you. This is going to be a takeaway show where you can make a difference, because as we always talk about as the Financial Detox team and intelligence-driven advisors, when it comes to financial planning, it comes to personal investing and saving for your future and retiring, you really have to put together a plan. And so many people don't. I would say probably 85 to 90% of our clients have a financial advisor already when they come to us. And even their financial advisor didn't help them they don't have a plan. They just made investments based upon what they were thinking or feeling at that particular day. And that is a way to absolutely ensure you are going to be full of financial toxicity. The plan is not going to work because you don't have one.
And like you'll panic when stuff like this happens. Like when a pandemic hits, you will have no idea why you're invested the way you are and know what to do now.
Man, that's a great point, Alex. You made me just think about when our clients who had the toughest time through this 30% quickest, steepest bear market we've had in basically history, and the quickest, quickest recovery. But the ones who suffered the most were the ones who gave the least attention to their financial plan. Yeah. They're the ones who we had a hard time engaging in the planning process, and those are the ones who did the worst when it comes to their investment performance in almost every scenario.
They were the ones that paid the most attention to their plan, though, when we had those tough conversations in March and April. And it's the same thing you were talking about, Scott. It's those business owners that we admittedly were like years ago starting out. And those are the business owners who were like, oh my goodness, I don't know if I'm going to be able to make it to the end of the year. The government's going to maybe give me some money. How do I do that immediately? But you're pointing out that it's not so much about just the short-term liquidity. You've got to think into the next year and the years past if you really want to survive whatever's to come with this thing, right?
Well, absolutely. And with the social distancing effects on capacity and cost and potential deal flow just in general. So your customers may not come back as fast. You may not be able to serve as many customers, at least for a while, especially if you're in any kind of an entertainment industry. You've got to sort of figure out, says, hey, what's my new cash break-even point look like, and can I get there?
Yeah.
Some of the mistakes I see business owners make is some business owners think they can raise prices and their output will not change, and which I say, then you should have raised prices yesterday.
You should have already done that, yeah.
So I said that's probably not realistic. And then there's other business owners, they'll say I'm going to lower my price, but I'm going to make up on volume, but they assume that their margin's going to be the same, and it's like, well, the cost of your product didn't change just because you can give it away, but it still costs what it costs. Right. And so they make those assumptions, and they have some really flawed analytics, and they think they're going to be knocking it out of the park, when realistically, if they sat down with like my tool and just plugged in the numbers, they would probably draw a much different conclusion. And
you're saying that, and Alex, you were going to ask Scott, but this tool is something that I don't even need to hire you to use. This tool that's going to be available free through this show on our show notes at financialdetox.com is something you can use yourself as a business owner, as a non-accountant, non-CPA, you're saying I can go in and use this tool myself?
I think a lot of people will be able to use it themselves immediately, especially if they've taken some classes in economics and finance. That would help. But it's designed to be that even after maybe 1 hour, people get the hang of it, especially for businesses that are reasonably simple in terms of like, one or two locations, one or two product lines. Right. Because at the end of the day, the tool doesn't do you any good if you always have to send it out to a professional. So it's not quite as sophisticated as TurboTax, where, you can make it work, but you don't know if it's right. But it's designed to be something that is end-user friendly, and we want the business leaders to be able to use it to basically set the high-level targets. It doesn't replace that 13-week cash flow, like we said, and it also doesn't replace a detailed annual budget that hopefully you're updating on a quarterly basis, and that's probably something that business owners would want to delegate off to their financial people.
Would you define the tool then as a shorter-term 13-week cash flow, or how does it differ?
Well, the 13-week cash flow is usually just, it stacks up your weekly expected income and output in terms of just spending money. This tool is more or less designed to say, what are my costs in a month going to be, whether or not they're in cash? Are they variable or are they fixed? And then we take the variable costs against the revenue to calculate a contribution margin, and we basically divide the fixed costs, which include your loan repayments, by that contribution margin, and that defines the break-even point at which your free cash flow would be exactly zero.
Okay.
Analytically, and then you can start to say, what if I increase? What if I decrease? What if I tweak this cost? What if I tweak that cost? What if coronavirus measures cause me to have to spend an extra 5% in variable costs because I've got to buy a lot of wipes and sanitizers and all that? It's designed to give you the high-level, quick answers to that, and like most projections, it's wrong. It's supposed to be close. It's supposed to be directional. It's supposed to give you an idea of, hey, this is going to work for me, or this isn't going to work. I need to rethink things.
The what if is huge. That's our whole financial planning process is really predicated upon that as well. At the individual level, we have so many clients. I think over half of our clients are small business owners, and so we end up having to do kind of a combination of, here's your personal financial plan, and then we have to marry it with their business, because their business is, like you said, it's typically most of their net worth and most of their income, or all of their income. Right. And so then when you marry those two together, what your tool sounds very complementary, because our what if scenarios through Monte Carlo are changing all these variables. What if I retire earlier? What if I spend less? What if I save more? What if I invest more aggressively or less aggressively? the whole point of that really is to take the least amount of risk to accomplish the end objectives, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And and the other thing I tell the business owners, especially as they use the tools and some of the economy reports, I said if you're looking at the third decimal place, you need to take a left turn and bump into the comma, because you want to be looking at the big picture first.
Yeah.
Look at the big picture, and then if you need to drill down, you probably don't want to be drilling down. Have your accounting people drill down for you and bring you the answers, because you want to be stayed focused on hey, I need to generate 800 units of demand this month for me to be able to make my loan repayments. And you want to know that, and you want to have confidence that says, okay, I believe I can hit 800 units. Or you have confidence and say, there's no way I'm going to hit 800 units. Then it's time to have a talk with somebody, maybe the bank or whoever the payment's to, and say, look, here's my plan. I'm going to need some deferment. And I did that with a client in Arizona. We basically went in and said, look, here's our demand forecast. We're not going to have any work for the entire rest of the year because the entertainment industry is going to be shut down. So we think it's going to come back strong in 2021. We asked for a 12-month deferral and tack it onto the back end as a balloon payment in 2025, and said, when we get to there, we can restructure it, and we'll worry about 2025 when it gets here. Right now, I need to get to January 1st, 2021.
Yeah.
That's awesome. What a real life example of what people are dealing with and business owners are dealing with. I just think that it's hard as a business owner, because you are wearing so many hats most of the time, that you have to know where to go and know where to get this information. I mean, so having, I think, this tool built into our financial planning tool, have it available to our listeners, is awesome. Let's take a short break, and then when we come back, we'll wrap it up and package this up in a way that our users can our listeners, can take advantage of not only your services, but also this tool that's available. And hopefully maybe this is just setting your mind right and getting you thinking in the right frame of mind about stuff that is really top of list priority. You got to get this done if you're running a business. If you're not planning, and in your investment life, if you're not planning, you're going to make mistakes and you're going to end up somewhere you didn't want to go. So stay with us. It's Financial Detox 760. What's our number, Alex? Help me out.
877-707-8889.
Too many thoughts in my head.
We have a 760 number too.
We do too. Works. Call that one either. All right. We'll be right back. Financial Detox. Thanks. Welcome back. It's Financial Detox. I'm Jason Labrum. We're having a chat here with Scott Palka from Pro Back Office. And Scott, this is fun. Alex and I are so in tune to what you're saying, because this is what we're dealing with as business owners every day, is how to manage cash flow, forecast. Markets go down, our revenue changes, all these kind of things. But we deal with it too every single day with our clients in managing their personal financial lives, right? A business owner has a business financial statement. An individual, we all have personal financial statements. We all have cash flow modeling and forecasting. This is what we do for clients in the financial planning process every single day, and it's fun. So it's really fun to now see a professional who does it for businesses pretty much only come in and start talking about it. The similarities and the cross-pollination is awesome. You were talking about an example, Scott, before I think we even started the show, when you first came in today, and it was about a restaurant. And there's so many restaurants in San Diego, which I think this is really key to business owners, and particularly restaurants, who've just been absolutely clobbered with this whole unnecessary shutdown. But tell us that model, what you did. That was really cool. That story was awesome.
Well, the first thing I told the business owners is that we can have a financial plan, but it's got to be harmonized with the operational realities of your business and what you can and can't do. And so we pulled out their floor plan, and we basically drew the social distancing circles and moved the tables, and we used some CAD programs, and basically concluded we could probably effectively use about 40% of the space and meet the guidelines. So the owner says to me, there is no way that I can survive at 40% space utilization. It just is not going to happen. So, we brainstormed and we decided to try something, and we modeled this and said, well, what if we use a quasi walk-up where the customers stand in line outside, they come in, they order at the register, they pay at the register, they pick up their drinks at the register, and then they go and the food order is in. Because we estimated that would cut the average turn time from 45 minutes for a table to about 30 minutes to a table, because you're cutting off all that time where you sit down for 5 minutes, nothing happens, the waitress comes over, can I get you a drink? She comes back, it's 5 minutes, you have the drink, it's 5 minutes, and then you order. So that's how we came up with our estimate. Not very scientific, but everybody said, well, it seems perfectly reasonable. So we did that. That actually increased his capacity utilization to more about 65%. And he said, at 65%, I think I can tread water until we can get to the larger scale reopening.
Right.
And so the big question is going to be, and it's early, but will the customers like that? Because it's a different experience. Then it's not a sit down and it's not a walk up. It's kind of a hybrid. And also the optic of the line waiting for the register, because if the people are 6 feet apart, lines that used to be 4 feet long are now 24 feet long.
Yeah.
So, if you sort of think of like a line, the line could be a mile long, but it's really 60
The
feet
Costco
long.
line.
Yeah,
Remember the
it's a
Costco lines
yeah,
that were
Costco.
like a mile
Yeah.
long, literally?
Yeah, but it really wasn't that long. So that's kind of the way we use some of these tools, and we really try to say it's got to be calibrated with the operational reality of your business. It doesn't do me any good to do a plan that says, oh, we're going to sell 900 units when you've only got a production capacity to generate 600.
Have you guys been to restaurants lately since the reopening?
Yes.
Which ones have you
couple.
gone to?
I went to Trattoria E Trulli in Encinitas. It was fantastic.
How about you, Scott?
Vine and Tap, San Marcos.
Nice.
And very nice local restaurant.
That's a great spot.
Yeah,
I love
same
that
experience.
place. Yeah.
We went to Chandler's last night, and then,
how was it?
last weekend we went to Le Papagayo, or 2 weekends ago,
yeah.
Le Papagayo.
Oh,
it was
another great place.
So I was just thinking, like, what has it been like for us? Because we're people, we go out
Right.
to eat. Like,
Sure.
we're tired of cooking every single meal and
Right.
cleaning every single meal.
Enough
the optics,
dishes.
the optics thing. It's interesting how your perspective changes when your reality has changed for 3 months. Habits have changed, and I don't mind going and having some weird experience because I just want something different.
Right, you want to get out of the house and go.
Yeah.
But this, I think this thing that you're onto is kind of a trend that's taking place in restaurants, isn't it? Like what's the not Shake Shack, the restaurant
Crack
down-
Shack?
Crack Shack, yeah, where you walk up and order and
Great
you get
chicken,
your drinks.
yeah.
The whole
Oh my
concept
gosh.
makes so much more sense from a restaurant perspective, anyway.
Right.
Because you can move people through so much fast. Go order your food, order your drinks at the counter, sit down. Here comes your food, and you're eating your blast. Right.
Yeah.
It's just a great restaurant concept in general.
Well, it's interesting because it decreases the cycle time for the restaurant.
Yes.
But it probably increases the cycle time for the customer because the customer is standing in line longer.
Yeah,
but they're not
assuming there's a line,
but
right?
Assuming there's a line, but then they're also not using your capacity. So when you sort of look at it, it's an interesting mix of the concept.
It's kind of like a Rubio's if you think about it, right? You go up, you order, you get your
Yeah.
drink, and you sit down. The whole concept actually makes some sense. There's clearly things that business owners can and need to do. It ties directly to what individuals can and need to do from their personal financial planning. If your portfolio has moved up or down or changed in value, which it certainly has. Do you have a plan in place so that you can do a bunch of scenarios and testing and what if this and what if that? We call it stress testing, right? We use 1,000 Monte Carlo simulations to stress test your portfolio. And now we run a program called Aladdin where we can stress test based on a roughly about 450 different artificial intelligence items. Everything from what if the second wave is bad? What if Trump loses the election? What if Trump wins the election? What if? And we can stress test your portfolios. And it sounds like Scott and his team at ProBack Office can help you do that. We're going to help you do that by bringing this tool and this Excel spreadsheet, which you said you got a webinar for. People can go in, watch the webinar, know how to use it. If they need help, maybe they get an hour's training or so. But as a business owner, you can start to put some data in here and truly understand what it looks like, 3 weeks, 6 weeks, 12, sorry, Alex, but what does it look like going out over the next little bit? Because if you're not planning, this thing could double dip. We could have a second wave. All these things could truly end your business if you're not paying attention.
Well, yeah, absolutely. And the other thing is I think it lets you sleep at night.
Right.
Because you can say, okay,
Total.
as long as I'm above this line, I'm going to be fine. If I start to go below here, I need a circuit breaker, I need some plans, I need to have a management structure that can take action immediately. We just need to plan that the next normal is the era of continuous change. And agile businesses will not only survive, they're going to be able to thrive.
Yeah. I believe that too. And that's the optimism and hope that we've been trying to spread. Because there's so much negativity and things to get stuck in rabbit holes and go off on tangents about and conspiracy theories and whatever else. But what you just said, Scott, gives me a lot of confidence in the future.
It does. It's taking control, right, Alex? We can spend your time and energy controlling the things you can control, and you will be successful. You have to maybe make some pivots and some changes, but you can make it work. Scott, thank you so much for being here today.
Thanks,
Super
guys.
fun. First time going live with the cameras rolling and everything. You walked in and just nailed it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Great to have you. So check us out, financialdetox.com. We'll have all the notes. We'll have the website, and we'll have a place where you can go in and check out this tool that we've been talking about. Thank you so much for checking us out at financialdetox.com every single week. We are here, and 877-707-8889 is how you can get a hold of us, or just go to financialdetox.com. Thanks so much. I'm Jason, and we'll catch you next week.